consider yourself kind of like, I don't know, the eunuch who came into Jerusalem and just happened to be reading Isaiah 53, and just so happened that he had crossed Jerusalem many times, but on this day he was there. And on this day, this guy named Philip comes up to him and says, "Are you perplexed because of what you're reading?" And this man says to him and says, "I am. I don't understand. Is this prophet prophesying about himself, or is he prophesying about somebody else? I don't understand." And this eunuch was literally reading about an event that had just taken place days ago. And he had no idea where he was in God's calendar, but he found out on the day that Philip, by the Ruach, by the Spirit of God, came to him and began to expound on him to him and says, "Don't you know, this just happened. You are of the generation that is on earth to see these things." And that's what happened in Philip's day and 2,000 years ago. Well, you are the generation that was called to be alive to see the greater glory that Adonai has promised. No one has ever dreamed about this. No prophet Haggai, Habakkuk, Daniel, Hosea. All of them are on the edge of their cloud of witness seat as they're watching the events taking place. And at this very moment, they're in this room right now shouting and saying, "Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. You better listen to the things that are happening in spirit, because until we're made perfect, they're not made perfect, because they are the spirit of just men who did their part on this whole thing, but they're awaiting for the perfection of the King to rise up inside of us, so that then we can be reconnected with one another, because we would not be who we are if they had not come before us. But they cannot be what God has called them to be until we enter into the divine glory and the plan that Adonai has. And you are the generation that has been placed on this earth, regardless of how old you are or how young you are. You have been placed on earth to see the manifestation of the sons of God. And it's not going to come the way we've all thought. But you know what? Look at the book. No one has ever thought right when they thought God was about to do something. When God begins to do something, Adonai does something, it always messes people up. Adonai tells you, "Oh, you're going to be the father of many nations," and you're like, "Beautiful, I need to get to work." And what do? You go find yourself a concubine or something. You got to get to work, because God said you're going to be a father of many, and in thy seed, in your seed, the nations of the world will be blessed. So because God promises a thing, in our humanness, we think with our minds, and we try to make this happen. And by doing so, we create Ishmaels. But even though we create Ishmaels, there is an appointed time that God's promise over us will not be moved, will not change, no matter how many Ishmaels we create, no matter how many mistakes we make, because the promises of God are not something that He's saying, "Okay, this is going to happen." No, the promise of God is God telling you in the past what He's already seen in the future. So He backs up to tell you, "Listen, this is going to happen," because He's already there dancing with Abraham's offspring, with Abraham's seed. And Abraham may think he needs to make this happen because his wife is too old to have children. So he figures he's got a plan. But our plans kind of turn out to be like a pain in our own behind. But they cannot change the promises of God, because the promises of God are the reality of what God has already seen in the future. His future, or I should say our future, is nothing but His past. There is like a spiritual octopus in most of our brains, just going. You ever think that like you're trying to grasp the things of God? It's like, my head is numb, I don't know, maybe if I read more, maybe if I fast, maybe if I study more. Oh, I can't do it. Oh my God, I'm just trying to read. I gotta. As if God needed our help. I went outside and I decided to bring some things in here to make this place dirty, because sometimes we just need visuals. We're going to go ahead and speak about this, but you know what? heck, a transition happened here that some of us are still struggling to keep up. Because the lamb became bread that we eat, and bread is made out of something that comes from many seeds. It's no longer one anymore. Right here, and I was giving us the formula. And we, in a short period of time, we're over here at the end, but I'm going back to the very beginning with this. It's so funny. They're all, Baruch Hashem, where is he? Are you trying to frighten me? It doesn't work. That's beautiful. Hallelujah. The anointed one is in me. Says, I created the killer bee. You think I'm worried about that? Hallelujah. You get to know it. Is he in the anointing, or is he just Peter's like, ah! Praise God. Well, you know what? People spend much money to get these things plucked out of their ground. They're called dandelions, I think. Am I not mistaken? Okay, something fascinating. This dandelion was plucked out, but this one was called before the foundation of the world to come up on this season to manifest the glory of God so that you can understand the things of the kingdom of heaven. There's something very unique about this plant right here. I don't care what you squirt on it. I don't care how much you dig it up. Even I dug this one up. I don't care. You will not cause this to stop existing. And people are trying real hard. There is one thing that takes place. This will grow, not even for very long, and then it'll die. And when it begins to die, it loses the glory and the beauty that it had. And it turns into this. And at this point, look at what's happening. Same plant. Same exact plant. Now you might say, well, okay, we get it. No, we don't get it. Because we see this, but we don't see the spiritual implication that God is trying to speak to us about. Nothing happens. What has happened here? This is the same exact plant. What has happened to this one? This one died. When this one died, something changed. It got a pick and it grew an afro. And it does it without anybody telling it to do that. And the difference between this and this is that when it's dead, something changes. It loses itself and its glory, and it releases this thing right here. This thing will blow away, and I'll tell you the truth, next year, I don't care what Scott wants to do to eliminate this. Next year, this thing is going to become this thing. This is seed, and the only thing that seed needs is that it dies, and it needs to find some dirt. In here, this will not grow because there's no dirt in here. If I drop this on the floor, it'll sit on the floor for years and years and years and years. But rest assured, one of these days, someone will come in here, they'll sweep up the dirt, this will be swept up with the dust, and whenever this is thrown outside in a garbage bag, I don't care if it's 10 years from now, 100 years from now, 1,000,000 years from now, whenever this little thing that fell in its floor gets swept into a broom, into a trash barrel, and thrown outside, at some point it'll roll itself and find itself back into dirt, and when it finds dirt, it's going to grow into this, and continue the process over and over and over and over again. You see, you don't need religious doctrine to understand the things of God, because this plant doesn't know what I'm saying, and it'll do exactly what it was created to do. That's what seed does. Seed needs to go to a plant that dies, and then it just needs to find itself into dirt. And it'll continue this process over and over and over. And you know what? I do not care how much this tries. This will never turn into this. This guy is doing the same thing that this guy does, but next year more of this is going to come up. This dies to reproduce this. This will never get the revelation of we need to change into purple because now we got a new understanding. This will never become this. Do you understand? Look it. I plucked, I'm a pluck, 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 pluck. Sit a bit. Okay. I can't find a fake dandelion. But let's make believe this is a fake dandelion. A synthetic one. Okay? As you may know, I can plant this into the dirt today. This will rot away into nothing. This will never reproduce itself. Why? Because it has no seed. Are you understanding this? The seed of God is the anointed one of Israel. Church calls him Christ. I don't like to use that word because Christ puts your brain into a mindset, Jesus Christ. And I'm not talking about that, but I am talking about that. Because you see, if Christ is a name, then you're connected with a guy. And he's not a guy. He is God, the Spirit that multiplies himself. And if he is the seed that begins this and this is identical. This is dandelion, this is dandelion. This is dandelion before it dies, this is dandelion after it dies, and this is dandelion about to enter into dirt so that it can become dandelion. You understand? So if the seed is Christ, you are not called to be followers of Christ. You are called to become Christ. When his seed comes into this little dirt and comes up, it is him that people see, not you. Religion keeps everyone over here all synthetically waiting for him to come. Oh, he's been here. And he continues to dwell among us so that the flesh can become, so spirit can become flesh. And flesh can become spirit. For he comes and he tabernacles among us so that he, like this dandelion, can continue to reproduce what? Himself. And religion is saying, well, I look better than you. Yeah. Well, but I am in the assembly of the brethren, you're not. Well, I guess that I'm free-spirited. And then someone else comes over here and says, well, really? Well, we have a different revelation. You see? Amen. You don't have my revelation. Yes. Meanwhile, all this is religious experiments made by humans, doctrines of men that refuse to allow you to be impregnated by the seed, because they know once you get impregnated by the seed, you're going to become the seed himself. And I'll tell you the truth, it's very difficult to lead a congregation that became the seed. Much easier to lead them and keep them all like this, stupid and dumb. I'll just keep giving you a little bit of regurgitated milk so that you cannot grow. God forbid you might become more anointed than me. Then I'll lose my ministry. The shepherds of God are not supposed to be leaders of ministries. The shepherds of God are supposed to be people who take the seed from heaven and keep throwing it at the dirt.
Ooh, yeah.
Until they begin to see this thing that they're throwing out growing out of the people. Says, there it is, there it is. And this is why he said, if they hated me, they're going to hate you. Why? Because I am in you and you are in me. Bone of your bone, flesh of your flesh. You're not the body of Messiah as the group of people who like to know about Messiah. You are the body as much as this is my body. Part of him, one with him. You know, it's funny, I come from a background of a denomination that is very against Catholicism and all that. You know, I'm an equal opportunity offender of all religion. I ain't gonna bound it up to no Catholics and no Presbyterians and no Pentecostals. It's all, I can't even, oh, there we go. They're trying to start a new congregation over here. No, get out. It's all this. And then the problem is you kind of come a little bit with maybe this, and they just want, see, they are going to turn you into this. You see? They are going to make you look like them. But you were not created to be made like them, because this can't procreate. This can be shaped, and in fact was shaped. Somebody sat down and shaped it. This, on the other hand, nobody did a thing other than trying to pluck it out. And every year it shapes itself perfectly. Why? Because this is the work of God. And this is the work of flesh. And flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of heaven.
Hallelujah.
So I'm sorry, I didn't come here to talk to people who believe in God. I came here to speak to the seed inside of you. Because if you're here, at some point in your life, seed has landed on you. But religious systems came, and they just choked that stuff up so bad. You were born of incorruptible seed. And it's not you, the human. It is the Son of God inside of you who was born of incorruptible seed. He just needed dirt. This is why in all of creation we were formed from dirt. God knew if I make a thing that looks like dirt but looks like me, I'll put my spirit and its seed into this thing and I'll have myself walking on this earth. See, religion keeps us separated from the reality of God. Mm-hmm. Vessels searching to please God. This thing doesn't care that it pleases or displeases anybody. Every year just keeps coming. It's not offended. Every year you're plucking it out. Oh, them damn dandelions. It doesn't care. It doesn't care. It doesn't care that you don't think it's a rose. It doesn't care that you mow it. It doesn't care. Chop it up. I'll make myself sick, but you understand the point is, it doesn't matter. You cut it like this. Ha ha, we got rid of the seed. Really? Really? It'll make more come up. The Spirit of a living God within me is more powerful and more zealous about seeing the Spirit of the living God coming within you. More uncontainable than a dandelion is the Spirit of God. And that's why you are His children. And that's why you come under so much persecution. The rabbi was preaching, it was good, but then he got poisoned by the dandelion. Hey. Oh. Praise God. Hallelujah. A quick awakening that, oh, I'm still in the flesh here. No, we're going to claim. The Lord says somewhere that, poison, they'll eat poison, drink poison, it will have no effect over them. Oh, can you hug? You have been found. Hallelujah. You know, God's children, we don't understand. You see, here's a little vessel, right? It's lost. Being lost is only our own perception. She was going exactly where she needed to go. Because God needed to manifest something wherever she was. And at this present time, he needed her in here, so she walked in as I was spitting up dandelions. It is all in his plan. It is all in his plan, and the Lord wants to awaken us to the revelation of joy and peace and celebration, because when we begin to understand that something as silly as a dandelion will reproduce itself forever. And this is a dandelion. And God is so faithful to continue this thing. How much more will he not be faithful to make sure that the incorruptible seed, which is his own character, his own son, himself, how much more will he not be faithful to see to it that the incorruptible seed that far surpasses this seed will find dirt in you and begin to grow. Some of you might be saying, oh, praise the Lord, I got a lot of dirt. Yeah, that's why he chose you. Because the foolish things of this world are beautiful in the kingdom of heaven. And the beautiful things of the kingdom of heaven are foolishness in this world. Just getting this simple little revelation will set you free from embarking in all these human ritualistic ways to try to figure out a way to please God. You know, I have never sat down and had a conversation with my lawn. It just does what it does every year. I still don't understand it. Grass grows where I don't want it, and it doesn't seem to grow where I want it. But those are the ways of the Lord. I'm here to speak to this in you. Because this in you is what needs to be fed. This in you is what needs to grow. This is what needs to grow. Begin to understand and perceive the ways of Adonai this way. It changes everything. Oh my God. You'll never waste another day trying to save another person. How many people have you saved? Well, how many people have you saved? Dummy, none. He has saved them all. Huh? Well, when did you accept the Lord? Never. He accepted me. If it was going to be based on my ability to accept him, I'd be doomed. And you must understand this. And if you think you've accepted him, you accepted a form of God. You accepted a form of religion, which is no different than accepting a certain business, a certain network of making money. It's like, oh, I'm making a decision. I think this is good. I remember doing this. You know, network marketing. I'm going to show you the plan. Oh, that's right. This is a wrong. Oh, that's right. I was going to tell you about the festivals, but you know, I'm going to change this whole thing right up. This is going to be an Amway meeting now. That's what we're going to do. And what's going to happen is I'm going to tell you about the plan, and you're going to go ahead and tell it to 3 friends. They're going to tell it to 3 other friends. And praise the Lord, you're going to see yourself get dollar bills. Don't you just want to be free? What could you do with all that money? You see what happens? In our humanness, we choose certain things that kind of make sense to us. This didn't. It just blew up on your lawn somewhere and started growing. Your lawn didn't say, I accept dandelions. Dandelion, there shall thou comest thou to me. Thy desires thou presence on my lawn is thou dandelion. Did you ever see your lawn preach that? How did your lawn get dandelions on it if it never accepted it? Because it's not the lawn's job to spread this thing. who sends the wind, who sends the rain, who sends the seasons to grow what he'll grow. And if he does it, this is the thing, you gotta understand this, if he does it with something as silly and as minute and as insignificant as a dandelion, how much more is he not invested to do it with his own seed, to raise up many sons to glory? See, this will mess you up, because you go to church next week and somebody will say, but brother, the word of the Lord, and you'll be freaking out because Yeshua inside of you rises up and says, I am the word of the Lord. And so, oh God, did I just say that? No, you didn't. It's just that the dandelion, you ate the dandelion, and now it's coming up. And they're going to think you're freaky. They're going to hate you. You know, you start talking to somebody, you know, like, oh, how does it go? I don't even know how it goes now. Man was not made for Shabbat. I don't even know. I'm all confused. I'm trying to think. Because what happens is when you get impregnated by the Spirit of God, you can't even make any sense anymore. But it's a good thing, you know why? Because pride goes out the window, because now you don't know where the scriptures are, and I don't know where that is, and I don't know anything. All I know is that I was blind and now I see. All I know is that I can walk and now I can walk. All I know is that there was a joy that came into my heart when I first heard about this thing. And the years have gone by and I became indoctrinated and that joy is gone. Why is that joy gone? Well, it's gone because you became indoctrinated with religious nonsense. You had this, and someone just exchanged it and tucked that away and gave you this. And yeah, you may look better than this right now, but this gives life. This does not. This makes it easy to make believe we got nice decorations. That's all it is. It can't procreate. Out of this one, where did he go? Out of one of these seeds, how many dandelions are in that one seed? You have one? Oh, there you go. There you go. That's okay. Out of this. Did you see that? Oh, thank you. You know what I think happened? In spirit, when Yeshua had died, in spirit, he was like this dandelion. And they wanted him to come back and just do his thing again. And then the wind came and went like this to Yeshua. And he said, I'm floating up. And they're like, where's he going? He says, dummy, you don't get it. This is the process. He's the sea that's floating into the clouds to come down and land on his people. And 120 believers were in the upper room 10 days later. And the sea that flew up into the clouds came into them. And they began to talk like, act like, speak like, feel like, perceive like the one who had walked with them. And that's why they say we used to see him according to the flesh, but we see him thus no longer. Likewise, we no longer recognize one another according to the flesh as we used to. Now we don't do that anymore. Because we recognize that there's something different here. You're a new creation. Religion hates that. Because religion banks on making money. From you sitting here, desperate week after week, waiting for the Messiah to come. Oh my God, did you hear that? Did you hear that? See, if you don't know that he's the seed that has come into you, you're going to keep coming, waiting for him to come, because you want to see this physical manifestation. So you're like, there he is, there he is, there he is, oh, there he is. Because you don't know, there he is, there he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. Because if the seed came to live inside of you. It's growing inside of you. It's transforming inside of you. People will look at you. They'll say, something about your face. You know how many people come up to me and they say, hey, just like, that rabbi came over. It's like Jesus was preaching. No kidding. No kidding. That's not supposed to be a big deal. It is him speaking when you're speaking. That's the whole plan. It is for this cause that he came, to multiply himself. That people will see him, not you. Him, not me. I have nothing, but he has everything. You see? You feed that. And the sons of God in there rise up. You can't really run a congregation very well that way because you can't hold the sons of God back. They grow up and then they move on, and then they keep throwing seed onto others, and then they'll grow up and move on. You can't build the numbers that way. We need faithful members. We need faithful members. No? We need members who are dead so that God can do his work. Because the faithfulness comes from God. His faithfulness is to send rain in its proper season so that the seed that you threw at the little dirt vessels can grow into the anointed one. Wow. Oh, I forgot about the plan. I remember. And this is not anything to discourage anybody who at present time is paying their bills with Amway. I don't even know why I brought that up. But I want you to understand that there is a certain thing that clicks in your head when you become involved with something, because it's going to help you or it's going to benefit you. When it comes to this, you're just going to die. You don't fill up a lot of congregations with that message, because you're going to decrease so that you'll increase. Thank you, Father. I think I was hearing songs from heaven. Hallelujah.